This might be kind of shaky because I'm trying to hold this and read it to you at the same time. We're going to talk about Zionism and Zionist Jews and all this stuff because it keeps getting brought up, and a lot of people say it's not true, it doesn't exist, which is a bunch of crap because it does. Even Jesus warned about this, and I'm going to even go over the scriptures with you in the Bible. You'll be able to read them yourselves. But I'm going to read this article to you, and then I'm going to post it at the bottom of my video, so that way you can go in, look at the pictures, read it yourself. It says, the Israel Supreme Court is the creation of one elite family, the Rothschilds. In their negotiations with Israel, they agreed to donate the building under 3 conditions. The Rothschilds were to choose the plot of land, they would use their own architect, and no one would ever know the price of its construction. The reasons for those conditions are quite evident. The Supreme Court building is a temple of Masonic mystery religion and is built by the elite for the elite. See, that is what the outside looks like. Now I'm going to scroll down and read more. Built in 1992, the Israel Supreme Court sits in Jerusalem in front of the Knesset, Israel legislature. Its particular architect has earned critical praise due to the architect's opposition of old versus new, light versus shadow, and straight lines versus curves. Almost all critics and journalists have, however, omitted to mention the blatant occult symbols present all over the building. Masonic and Illuminati principles are physically embodied in the numerous instances, proving without a doubt who runs the show in there. House of Rothschilds. The Rothschilds family is an international dynasty of Germans of Jewish descent who established a worldwide banking and finance operation. The offsprings of Mayer Amschel Rothschild, 1744 through 1812, have spread all over Europe and become major actors in the social, political, and economic life of the continent. By knitting close ties with the elite of England, Austria, France, and Italy, the Rothschilds became a hidden force in most political events of the last centuries. Alternative historians say they are part of an infamous 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati, along with the Rockefellers and the DuPonts. The Rothschilds are one of the originators of the Zionist movement and the most active actors in the creation of the State of Israel. James A. de Rothschild financed the Knesset, Israel's main political building. Right in front of it sits the Israel Supreme Court House, donated by another member of the dynasty, Dorothy de Rothschild. Okay, this is them planning it. Painting at the entrance of the Supreme Court. The Rothschilds with Shimon Peres and Isaac Rabin. In the same general area of Jerusalem, we can therefore find the Knesset and the Supreme Court built by the Rothschilds, and following a perpendicular ley line several blocks away sits the Rockefeller Museum, another elite family. You might start to understand who owns this area now. Jerry Golden wrote several years ago on the Israel Supreme Court, appropriately pointing out its occult concepts. When you study those types of buildings, you quickly realize that the same themes inevitably reappear: illumination, pyramid, ascent, the number 13 or 33, phallic, yonic symbols, etc. This building has it all and more. Path of illumination. A journey through the Supreme Court is in fact a symbolic course towards illumination. The ultimate goal of the journey is to reach the top of the pyramid, which is located on the roof of the Supreme Court, atop of an area where the Holy of Holies would be the Jewish temple. On each side of the pyramid's apex is a hole representing the all-seeing eye of the Masonic Great Architect. See the reverse of the Great Seal of the United States, which is on the back of the dollar bill, and I will show you that soon. Let's go through the path of the profane to reach illumination. Darkness to light stairway. One who enters the Supreme Court finds himself in a dark area in front of a stairway leading to a source of light. By climbing these stairs, the visitor gradually leaves the depths of darkness to finally reach glorious sunlight. There are exactly 3 times 10 steps, totaling 30. They represent the 30 first degrees of Freemasonry, where the profane is gradually taken from the depths of material life, darkness, to wisdom and illumination light. We know that Freemasonry comprises a total of 33 degrees, and we'll later see where we can find those last 3 degrees in the structure. On the right side of the stairs are old rocks reminiscent of walls of ancient Jerusalem, while on the left is a smooth and modern wall. This represents the timeless nature of occult teachings who have been transmitted since ancient times to this day. Once having climbed the stairs, the visitors can admire a great view of Jerusalem. In a symbolic way, the enlightened person gained spiritual sight. View of Jerusalem after climbing the stairs of illumination. Embodied on the floor is a ley line guiding the traveler to the entrance of the library, which is conveniently placed right under the pyramid. The library. The library is divided in 3 levels, symbolically representing the last 3 degrees of Freemasonry: 31st, 32nd, and honorary 33rd. The first level is reserved for lawyers, the second is reserved for judges, and the books on the 3rd level can only be read by retired judges. The library's way of functioning, where some information is the exclusive privilege of select few, directly correlates with the functioning of occult orders, where teachings of a certain degree can only be given if the initiates have successfully cleared the previous degrees. The library contains legal, judicial, physiological, and spiritual works. There is no doubt that the reserved books contain a wealth of historic knowledge. Right above the higher level of the library, representing the 33rd level of Masonry, is the base of the pyramid. This is where Freemasonry symbolically ends and the hidden order of the Illuminati begins. Right under the apex of the pyramid on the floor, we find sacred geometry patterns. Jerry Golden has mentioned that a crystal is embedded right in the middle of the pattern, right under the eye of the pyramid. What does this signify? The entrance of the courtrooms are said to resemble an ancient Jewish tombs. The holes atop the doors are meant to permit the soul to leave the room. Also notice the contrast between old and new. The prison cells, the courtroom, and the judge's quarters are placed one on top of the other, symbolizing the threefold nature of the world. The inmates are stuck in cells, symbolizing the prison of the lower material world. The courtrooms, placed right over the prison cells, represent the higher world, where divinity gets in touch with humanity. In the courtrooms, the judges are illuminated by a natural source of light, so the judges, hearing the pleas of the masses, sit there with divine light constantly shining upon them. After the hearings, the judges retire to their quarters situated right over the courtroom. They symbolically ascend to the divine world. When the decision is taken, they descend to bring illumination to the lower world. Fertility symbol. Outside the courtroom is a stairway leading to the lower level. No occult temple would be complete without those next 2 features. In the middle of the stairway is the shape of a vestica Pisces, representing female genitals penetrated by a column phallic symbol. This is an obvious fertility symbol, a union of the male and female principles. Numerous occult temples insert a fertility symbol in their lower floor. See the Manitoba Legislative Building or Washington Capitol. But wait, there's usually a rotunda along with the fertility symbol. Oh, there is. Some occult buildings hide the Star of Ishtar, fertility symbol. At the center of the lower rotunda is hidden there. The exterior of the Supreme Court contains loads of symbolic features. Just follow the Dorothy de Rothschild stone to see where it leads you. The Dorothy de Rothschild Grove. And there's an obelisk. We've seen these several different places within the U.S. This is the Dorothy de Rothschild Grove. The obelisk is the most commonly used and most blatant occult symbol used throughout the world. In ancient Egypt, the cult of this phallic symbol was associated with the god Osiris, who was cut in 13 pieces by Seth. Isis traveled far and beyond to retrieve all of Osiris's body parts and was successful except for one body part, the penis, which was swallowed by fish. The lost phallus is thus representative of male energy and is almost always placed, as in the case, inside a circle, which represents female genitalia and energy. The obelisk in the middle of a circle represents the sexual act and the union of opposite forces. In our modern world, obelisks are found on nearly all important landmarks and thus became the symbol of the occult elite's power. Courtyard. Anybody see this? Knows what a ley line is. Ley line. The courtyard has a beautiful Zen-like feel. A source of water is constantly bubbling and streaming through a narrow path towards a strange stone. Official Supreme Court documentation say the courtyard is a physical representation of the verse from Psalm 85:11. Truth springs from the earth, and righteousness looks down from heaven. The judge's office overlooked the courtyard, so they are symbolically looking down from heaven. The stream of water goes straight and ends up right under a strange enigmatic stone. What is this thing, and why is truth who sprung from earth leading towards it? The stone's polished surface reflects a distorted image of the courtyard. What does it represent? Trampled cross. Some people think this is a trampled cross, and other people think it might be a sun symbol. At the center of the parking facilities are pathways shaped like Christian cross. Jerry Golden has mentioned that this cross has been specifically placed to be trampled on by visitors. He is most probably right. In a building where spiritual symbolism reigns supreme, there are effectively little chances that the layout of those pathways haven't been thoroughly thought out by the architects. In other words, this can't be just a coincidence. The visitors have to go down the stairs, symbolically descend to lower spheres, to reach the cross. As you might have noticed, the importance of the act of ascending and descending in this building is very important. This is not an exception. Occult secret societies have historically been at odds with the Christian Church, who repeatedly persecuted and accused them of all sorts of heresies. During the Middle Ages, the Knights Templar, ancestors of Freemasonry, have been accused by the Archbishop of Canterbury of numerous anti-Christian deeds, including trampling the cross underfoot. During their initiation process, are they poking back at Christianity with the symbol? Pomegranates. Those pomegranates lying on the floor might seem extremely insignificant for the average onlooker. They, however, hold a special signification for students on the mysteries of Freemasonry. Among the ancient mysteries, the pomegranate was also considered to be a divine symbol of such particular significance that its true explanation could not be divulged. It was termed by the Kabiri, the forbidden secret. Many Greek gods and goddesses are depicted holding the fruit or flower of the pomegranate in their hands, evidently signifying that they are givers of life and plenty. Pomegranate capitals were placed upon the pillars of Jachin and Boaz, standing in front of King Solomon's temple, and by the order of Jehovah, pomegranate blossoms were embroidered upon the bottom of the high priest's ephod. Manly P. Hall, Secret Teachings of All Ages. As stated by Hall, pomegranates were placed on top of two pillars standing in front of a Solomon's temple. If you have minimal knowledge of Masonic teachings, you know that the Temple of Solomon and the pillars named Jachin and Boaz are of the utmost importance. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. The capitals were enriched by pomegranates of bronze, covered by bronze network, and were ornamented with wreaths of bronze, and appeared to have intimidated the shape of the seed vessel of the lotus of Egyptian lily, a sacred symbol in the Hindus and Egyptians. Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma. We know that the Masons patiently look forward to the day that they'll rebuild the Temple of Solomon in its original grounds, Temple Mount Jerusalem, and those pomegranates waiting to be placed on the pillars of the next temple. To conclude, this article barely scratches the surface of the occult symbolism of the Israel Supreme Court. It is, however, clear that the building's architecture carries important symbolism relating to spirituality and the attainment of illumination. There are no religious monuments relating to Judaism or any organized religion. The Supreme Court is a temple of mysteries which are an amalgamation of pagan rituals interlaced with an historic interpretation of the scriptures. The teaching of the mysteries is reserved to members of occult secret societies, which the Rothschilds are obviously a part of. The historic meaning of the building is concealed from the public, but is unmistakably reveals to the initiates who possesses real power in the world. Okay, I don't know if you can see me or not. I haven't figured this thing out to switch it over. It won't let me once I start recording. This is going to have to be 2 videos because I know that my phone will not go farther than like 20 some minutes. So this is going to be a 2-part thing. I will make the other one once this one loads up.